Have you ever been pierced by a sharp word? Let me ask you something strange. If someone shot you with an arrow, you'd pull it out immediately, wouldn't you? But what if the arrow is invisible? What if it's made of wood, not steel? Would you still pull it out? Or would you keep it lodged in your heart for years? There was a man named Elias. He spent half his life walking around with those arrows inside him. Not just one, but many. Each insult, each rejection, each painful memory. He kept them all as if they were treasures. He thought they defined him, that he deserved the pain. But tell me, is it really the world that causes our suffering? Or is it our own mind, clinging to what has already passed, fearing what hasn't yet come? We chase happiness, yet we feed our misery. We beg for peace, yet refuse to let go of anger. Why? Because the mind is both a healer and a destroyer. And until we learn to see it clearly, we will never be free. Today I want to tell you Elias's story, but be warned, it may stir something deep inside you, a memory, a scar, a question you've never dared to ask. But once you hear it, you might never see your pain the same way again. Elias was not a man you'd notice in a crowd. He walked with a slow, quiet pace. He didn't speak much, and yet, if you ever looked into his eyes, you'd see a storm hiding behind the calm. He was a wood carver, living in a quiet village, nestled between the mountains. Every morning he'd sit by the window, chiseling delicate shapes from blocks of oak and pine. To the outside world, his life looked peaceful, simple, even enviable. But inside, Elias was haunted. His father, a stern, bitter man, used to call him worthless. "You'll never be good enough." That's what he once said. And Elias never forgot. Even though his father had died years ago, his voice lived on, echoing inside Elias's mind, like a ghost that refused to leave. He heard it when he dropped a cup, when his carving cracked, even when someone praised him. He'd think, they don't mean it. They're just being polite. One day, while delivering a wooden statue to a nearby temple, Elias met an old monk. His name was Aaron. The monk saw the weight in Elias's eyes and invited him to stay. They sat in silence, just 2 cups of tea between them. Then, Aaron asked softly, "If someone poured poison into this tea, would you drink it?" Elias frowned. "Of course not." The monk smiled, looked at him gently. "Then why do you keep drinking the poison your father left behind?" Elias froze. It was like someone had opened a window in a room that had been dark for years. That night, Elias couldn't sleep. He sat outside the temple, under the moonlight, watching the wind move through the trees, and he whispered to himself, "What if I stopped believing the voice in my head?" And in that moment, something inside him broke, not in a painful way, but like a chain snapping free. That night, something awakened in Elias, not a flash of enlightenment, but a quiet shift, a seed planted in silence, a question that refused to go away. If my father is gone, why do his words still hurt me? The answer came slowly, like mist, rising over the hills. Because I never stopped carrying them. In Buddhist teaching, there is a story. A man is shot by an arrow. He cries out in pain. But before he lets the healer remove it, he insists, "Wait, I need to know who shot me, what kind of bow he used, what village he's from, what kind of man he is." And while he's asking all those questions, the man dies. This is what our minds do. We are wounded, yes, but instead of healing, we cling. We analyze. We replay. We bleed again and again. Pain is inevitable. But suffering, that's a choice. Suffering happens when we take a painful thought and refuse to put it down. We rehearse insults. We relive our worst days. Not because we must, but because our minds are addicted. Addicted to the story of why me. The Buddha called this the second arrow. The first arrow is the pain life gives you. The second is the one you shoot into your own heart. Elias began to see most of his suffering came after the moment, from the story, not the event. I'm not good enough. I'll never heal. This is who I am now. But what if those weren't truths? What if they were just habits? Habits of thought, like grooves carved into wood. And habits can be unlearned. The monk Aaron once told him, "Your thoughts are not you. They are visitors. Some bring gifts. Others bring fire. But you don't have to invite all of them in." So Elias sat and watched. He didn't try to silence the thoughts. That would be like yelling at a storm. Instead, he let them come. He let them go. "Here is a memory," he'd say. "Here is a fear. Here is the voice of my father. But I am not that voice." Slowly, like light through a cracked wall, peace returned. Not because the past changed, but because Elias changed his relationship with it. He stopped arguing with reality. He stopped being loyal to his wounds. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" he began asking, "How can I awaken through this?" And something miraculous happened. The pain didn't disappear, but it lost its power. The voice in his head still spoke. But now, he heard it without believing it. It was like watching a play and finally realizing the actors aren't real. Ask yourself now, have you ever believed a thought for so long that it became your identity? What if the most painful thing you believe about yourself isn't even true? As Elias softened, so did his life. He forgave, not because his father deserved it, but because he deserved peace. He no longer needed revenge. He no longer needed apologies, just freedom. In Buddhism, forgiveness isn't approval, it's release. You don't forgive because they deserve it. You forgive because you do. Ask your viewers now, call to comment, is there someone you haven't forgiven because you're waiting for them to admit they were wrong? What if that never comes? Will you stay chained forever? Elias no longer needed to fight his past. He didn't need to fix it. He didn't even need to understand all of it. All he needed was to stop carrying it, because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not to fight, but to let go. And maybe that's what you need too. Not another explanation, not another apology, but a quiet decision, a whisper in your heart. I will no longer suffer for something that is no longer happening. We've all been Elias, walking around with invisible arrows, smiling on the outside, bleeding on the inside. The truth is, many people will never say sorry. Many wounds may never get closure, but that doesn't mean you can't be free. You are not the voice in your head. You are not what happened to you. You are the one who sees, who chooses, who lets go. So I ask you now, what arrow are you still carrying? Whose voice still echoes in your mind? What story are you telling yourself that is no longer true? Write it in the comments, not just for others, for yourself, because healing begins the moment you speak it, the moment you see it. And if this story stirred something in you, a tear, a memory, a breath of peace, then share it. Not for the views, but because someone, somewhere, is still hurting. And your voice might be the one that helps them finally let go. When the mind is free, suffering cannot stay. Let's begin that freedom today. Comment below. I'm letting go of, and finish the sentence. Tag someone who needs this message. And if you found peace here, hit subscribe for more stories that don't just speak to your mind, but whisper to your soul.